Hello guys, I'm recording this video about adjectives because our meeting this morning did not record. So I'll give a second explanation for adjectives for those people who have any questions or didn't understand the lesson. Okay? An adjective is a word that describes a noun. Adjectives can tell what kind or how many. In our first example, I live in a yellow house. Yellow is the adjective that tells us what kind of house. Yellow is the adjective that describes the noun house. There are two new families on my street. Two and new are both adjectives. Two tells us how many families live on the street. Sorry, how many families are on the street. And new tells us what kind of families. So there are two new families. Two, how many? New, what kind? To and new are adjectives that describe the noun families. When we use adjectives, it helps make our writing more descriptive. We give our readers more details. Without an adjective, the sentence reads, I live in a house. When we add an adjective, we tell the reader what kind of house we live in. I live in a big house. My house has windows. My house has 10 windows. With the adjective, I tell my reader how many windows are in my house. More description, giving our reader a better understanding of what we are talking about. Let's go over these sentences together. Our example is we moved into a new house. Our adjective is new, telling us what kind of house. The house has 8 rooms. Here the adjective is 8, telling us how many rooms. I live in a quaint neighborhood. The adjective is quaint and it describes the type of neighborhood. What kind of neighborhood? Plants grow in a spacious yard. Spacious tells us what kind of yard. Adjective spacious, yard, noun. The kitchen has 2 doorways. 2 is the adjective that describes how many doorways. Doorways is our noun. My bedroom has a roomy closet. Roomy is the adjective that describes the noun closet. The house has a dusty attic. Dusty is the adjective that tells us what kind of attic. My big sister and I explored the attic. Big tells us what kind of sister. Big adjective, sister, noun. We found a plastic box in a corner. Plastic describes the type of box. What kind of box? Plastic adjective, box, noun. There were several photographs in the box. Several tells us how many photographs were in the box. Several is our adjective. Photographs is our noun. One photograph showed a house and a tree. One tells us how many photographs. One adjective, photograph, noun. Remember, adjectives are words that describe nouns. Adjectives can tell what kind or how many. What kind, like new. What kind, like big. What kind, like fluffy. How many, we could say many marbles. We could say several coins. We could say 100 books. Okay. Here we have 5 more sentences we're going to go over for more practice. There is a big tree in the yard. Big is the adjective that describes the noun tree. Big tells us what kind of tree. Yesterday we climbed the beautiful tree. Beautiful is the adjective describing what kind of tree. Tree is our noun. We used a tall ladder. Tall tells us what kind of ladder. Ladder is our noun. tall, our adjective. My sister discovered wide boards in the tree. Wide is the adjective that describes the noun boards. What kind of boards? Wide. She found a She found a flat floor for a house. Flat is the adjective describing floor. It tells us what kind of floor. Flat adjective, floor noun. Okay. Now, I asked the students to do page 52 in the practice book. We'll go over the answers together. We were going to do this today, we just ran out of time. So let's go over those. We did part of them, we just did not finish. Okay. It says underline the adjective and circle the noun, so it's what we were just doing. I live in an interesting neighborhood. Interesting is the adjective describing the noun neighborhood. Tall trees line the streets. Tall is the adjective describing the noun trees. The houses have large lawns. Large is the adjective describing lawns. Beautiful gardens are just about everywhere you look. Beautiful is the adjective describing the gardens. There is an unusual statue across the street. Unusual is the adjective describing statue. It is a small copy of a pyramid. Small is the adjective that describes copy. A special friend of mine lives in an apartment. Special is the adjective that describes friend. Her tall building is next to the park. Tall is the adjective that describes building. It has a fancy fountain in front of it. Fancy is the adjective describing fountain. During the cold winter, the water froze. Cold is the adjective that describes winter. Notice that for numbers 1 to 10, all of the adjectives tell us what kind. What kind of neighborhood? Interesting. What kind of trees? Tall. What kind of lawns? Large. What kind of gardens? Beautiful. What kind of statue? Unusual. What kind of copy? Small. What kind of friend? Special. What kind of building? Tall. What kind of fountain? Fancy. And what kind of winter? Cold. Okay, for the bottom, you're able to choose your own adjective. And so there are many answers that would work. A large old maple tree grows in our yard. We have 3 adjectives in this sentence. Large, old, and maple all tell us what type of tree grows in the yard. My grandfather planted the tree 50 years ago. Any number would work here to tell us how many years. The tree provides summer shade for our house. What type of shade does the tree provide? Summer. Once during a storm, a huge limb broke off the tree. Huge describes the limb. It tells us what kind of limb. My grandfather used the wood to build a beautiful table. Beautiful describes the table. What kind of table did grandfather build? A beautiful table. Okay, that's our review for adjectives. I'll see you tomorrow in the Zoom meetings. Please make sure you read the note that I posted on your page. Have a good afternoon. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.